Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Section 3.2 Notes, Part 2. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion on solving linear equations. Now, yesterday we talked about our steps, which the first thing was to always do is to simplify. And by simplifying, we're talking about seeing if we can distribute and then combine. We're adding a new step today, which is to eliminate your fractions and your decimals. And then the rest of that is getting your variable on one side and then following a sad map. So now, before we eliminate our fractions and decimals, we have to distribute, and we can distribute that 1/2. So 3 over 4n plus 1/2 on the left side stays the same. 1/2 times n is 1/2 n. And then off to the side, 1/2 times 1/2 is 1 to the 4th. Now this next step is where we're learning something new right here, is where we're going to eliminate the fraction. And we do that by multiplying by the LCD. So the LCD is the lowest common denominator. And the key word here is the lowest. Okay. Notice they both go into 8. But we want to work with smaller numbers, so that's why we're doing the LCD. So we're going to be multiplying everything here by 4. And technically that's going to be a 4 over 1. So let's multiply the numerators. 4 times 3, that gives you 12. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4, and the 2 stays down there. Oh, that's the same thing. So 4 over 2n. And then the last one is 4. Okay, now that we have all of these fractions right here, we can reduce this. We can make it easier to read. 12 divided by 4 is 3n. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 4 over 4 is 1. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can get our variable onto one side. Subtract 2n. We get n plus 2 equals 1. Subtract the 2. And n equals -1. Okay, so we always check to see if we can simplify first. That's where we distribute. Then we eliminated our fractions by multiplying by the lowest common denominator and then reducing. And from there we get our variable to one side and then follow SADMAP. All right, let's try another example. Okay, so first step, distribute. You can only distribute on the one side. So 1 over 5x plus 2 over 7 stays the same. 2 times 1 is 2. And then we need to do 2 over 1 times 1 over 14, which equals 2 over 14, which is the exact same thing as 1/7. Okay, so now we need to find the, we're going to multiply by the LCD. And the LCD of 5 and 7, if you count those out, it's going to be 35. So that gives us 35 over 5x plus 35 times 2 is 70. Oh, 35 times 2 again, 70. 35 times 1 is 35. All right, next thing we're going to check to see if we can reduce these. 35 over 5 is 7x. 70 over 7 is 10. And that gives us 5x. All right, so I want the variable on one side. I'm going to add 5x to both sides. We're going to get 12x plus 10 equals 70. And then we're going to follow SADMET. Get that variable on one side. So subtract the 10. 12x equals 60. Get your variable by itself. 60 divided by 12 should give you 5. All right. Number 3. I want you guys to go ahead and pause the video and go through and see if you can solve this. Okay? I wrote a couple of reminders for you guys right there and did the first thing. If you're having trouble right now, the LCD for these guys is 8. Go ahead and pause that video again. Get back to work. Okay, and there's all of the work for problem number 3. After you distributed the h, you get 80 over 8w plus 128 plus 40 over 4w equals 96 over 4w plus 24 over 4. Reduce all that out and start combining your like terms. Get your variables onto one side, and then to follow using SADMAP. Okay, that's it for problem number 3. All right, problem number 4. Okay, now we're working with decimals. We're going to be doing the same thing where you distribute first. So the 0.07m stays the same. Okay, now you need to do 0.02 times 3, and that gives you 6. And there are 2 numbers behind the decimal. And we're going to do the same thing over here times the 8. You get 16. And once again, there are 2 numbers in front of the decimal. Okay, and now what we got to do is when we are getting rid of decimals, you're going to multiply by the place value. So we have the biggest one that we've got is in the second place value, and that is in the 100th spot. So when you multiply everything, we are multiplying everything by 100. And when you do that, everything should be by itself. So 100 times 0.07 is 7m, 100 times 0.06 is 6. 100 times 0.16 is 16. And the last one we get is negative 10. Okay, start combining your like terms. We have the 7m and the 6m, which gives us 13m plus 16 equals negative 10. Okay, so now 13m equals negative 26. Let's divide by 13. M equals negative 2. All right. Number 5. Think you guys can do it? why don't you go ahead and pause the video, and then I'll show you what the second step is in just a minute. Okay, so after you distribute, those are all of your steps. Okay, now we're going to need to multiply by the place value. So both the 2 and the 5, those are in the 100th spot. So you're going to be multiplying everything by 100. Go ahead and pause the video again, and let's see what you get. Good luck, guys. All right, and there you go. After you distributed everything, we had to combine the like terms, which was the 60 and the negative 100, which gives us negative 40. I moved the smaller variable, so we get 10w. SAD map minus the 105 to both sides, you get negative 117. Divide by 10, and you cannot reduce that fraction, so it's w equals negative 117 over 10. All right, well, that's it for 3.2 notes, part 2. If you guys have any questions, please come find Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Thanks for watching, guys.